hearing and seeing each other, we cannot really do our duties. Now, live streaming is about to start. Okay, so we are live, everyone, and okay, so Quantum Leap Advanced Toastmasters Club is another Toastmasters club. Toastmasters is a worldwide organization headquartered in Colorado, USA. Its main aim is to improve the communication and leadership skills of its members, and it does that through its education program, and policies and protocols that are standard throughout the world. There are more than 17,000 clubs, and there are more than, I think, 280,000 members currently. In Pakistan, we became a district in 2019, and we have more than 40 clubs right now. So Quantum Leap, in addition to following all the policies and protocols of all Toastmasters Club, happens to be an advanced club, which means two things. One thing is that uh, there are certain criteria upon its membership. We only induct members who are ideologically aligned to the theme of the club, and the theme of the club is nothing but to advance science and technology and technological awareness, especially the curiosity that comes from the study of natural sciences such as physics, maths, chemistry. And I believe that I'm not aware of any other club in the world that actually follows this theme. So we have to be unique, and the whole purpose is not to not only rekindle the scientific curiosity, but also motivate all of us to rekindle the same in our children as well, because that's the need of the hour. Now, without further ado, we will move on to the meeting proper. I already communicated that we have a change in the agenda, and a little recap. During the intervening period from the last meeting to this, there was only one major decision taken by the executive committee, and that was the rescheduling of this meeting from last Saturday to this Sunday. Uh, the second item to report is that we have conducted several trial meetings at 11 a.m. From the original time of 10 a.m. And that seems to be working fine. So we will be presenting a resolution to the members, permanently changing the time to 11 a.m. because as per the club charter, the time is still 10 a.m. every alternate Saturday. Our last meeting took place 3 weeks ago, and let me just recap it briefly. So our last meeting was took place on November 23rd. It featured a keynote by DTM Sudarshan. It was all about building and breaking habits and making commitments. Uh, we don't have the winners from that meeting yet, but let me just look at the agenda. So yeah, we of course we had a winner. Our best speaker was Toastmaster Uwais Bhatt, who won thanks to his icebreaker. And I believe that the best lead evaluator was won by DTM Swarna. Uh, the table topics session was hosted by myself, and we'll communicate the detailed results uh, after the bulletin is ready. So today, the theme of our meeting is all about something that is actually very important, and that is winning and losing. Now, sometimes you win by losing. In this case, you win by losing weight. And sometimes participation is all that matters, right? Because this is contest season, and whenever there's a contest, we actually assert to everyone, all the participants, that uh, it's not about a podium finish, it is about competing and making an impact. So, so this is the theme, and of course, today's meeting features a keynote from one of our newer members, Toastmaster Salman Ibrahim. That's all about weight loss, and we have two speeches. We have one speech by DTM UK Ajay, a pathway speech, and we will have DTM Iram Rizvi joining us as a table topics master, and our general evaluator today is distinguished Toastmaster Sarfraz Nazeem. So I will request Toastmaster DTM Swarna Kalyan um, for her brief comments about quantum leap and uh, what is he doing in Saudi these days.
A very good morning to all of you and to Toastmaster of the day, DTM Talha. I, as a charter member of Quantum Leap, I always like to come back to meetings, especially today's winning by losing. Wow, that's a beautiful topic. And I'm hoping that I will learn a little bit more on how we can conquer the ever long journey of weight loss, which seems to be a struggle for many of us in this world today. As far as what am I doing in Saudi? Just for your information, my husband works in Saudi Arabia. So I try to visit him when he's not able to visit. I try to visit him. So my year end is normally in Saudi Arabia for the past 2 years now. Thank you. And over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you so much, DTM Swarna, and great to see you again and again. I must say one thing that DTM Swarna has served all the three trio positions in District 80, and District 80 is maybe one of the biggest and the busiest districts in the entire Toastmasters world. And despite that, DTM Swarna has been with Quantum Leap whenever she can. She has delivered some absolutely memorable keynotes, and we've had some absolutely memorable keynote interview sessions, which is another thing pioneered by Quantum Leap. I remember one session the most vividly, and that also ties into the theme of today's meeting a little bit, which was all about how desi food sucks and how bad it is for health, and how literally every other cuisine on the planet is preferable to desi food if one has even a remote hope of staying fit and surviving past 60. So so that was one of the keynotes, and so today we will have. I'm also the language evaluator, and language evaluator's role is, of course, to comment and to notice good usage of English language and also point out errors. Uh, my another role is also to assign word of the day, and word of the day for today is the fitness. So we've been having very difficult and scientific words of the day, but I thought that today word of the day would be something closely related to the theme of the meeting. So word of the day is fitness, and fitness means a state of being physically in shape, in balance, and today, our lead evaluator for keynote speech will be myself, uh, and we'll get to the panel evaluator when we get to the actual stage. But for keynote speech, I mean to emphasize it right now because we'll need to we'll need to evaluate the keynote speech immediately after it is over. Uh, so, lead evaluator will be myself. Auditory evaluation will be done by DTM SAF, visual evaluation by DTM Sarfraz, and structural and perceptible by DTM Ajay. And for structural and language, if I may ask DTM Swarna, would you be willing to be the structural and language evaluator for Toastmaster Salman?
No problem. Yeah, I will do that.
Okay, absolutely. Thank you so much. So, without further ado, let's move on to our keynote address, and that's by Toastmaster Salman Ibrahim. And Toastmaster Salman is actually, he calls himself a finance professional, but we know he's so much more. Uh, he is actually finance professional overflowing with curiosity hormones, avid reader, and overall a restless soul. So prime membership material for Quantum Leap course. And today he will talk about some lessons learned by okay, this is awkward for me to say because I'm afflicted by the same disease, which is called obesity. But okay, I will read whatever he wrote verbatim, talk about some lessons learned by an obese person during his journey to reach normal weight, the ups and downs, what worked and what did not. So, Toastmaster Salman, are you there?
Yes, I am here. Hello, everyone. I'm just trying to load my camera. Unfortunately, it's just not working. Let me try another device. But if you
Okay,
don't
sure.
mind, please bear with me for a few minutes.
Sure. Uh, we have
Is
Yeah,
it
we are doing good time as per the agenda. So we
DTM
everyone is
Tala? Is
requested.
it possible since he is arranging the camera, we
Yes,
can
sir.
have the speaker Ajay first, and
All right. I
after
think
that we can take him as a keynote speaker.
sure, sir. Sure. Okay. So DTM Ajay is up next, uh, and the title is TYG, right?
Yes,
Okay.
it's
Okay.
TYG.
So lead evaluator for DTM Ajay is DTM SAF. Auditory. Okay. Yes. Auditory evaluation, visual will be done by myself, perceptible by DTM Sarfraz, and structure and language. Okay, there's kind of a repetition here.
Uh,
Uh,
we can give the auditory part to the DTM Savarna.
would you be willing, DTM Swarna?
I can do. This is for
All
who?
right. This is for
For
DTM
Ajay.
Ajay. DTM Ajay.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
Auditory, yeah?
auditory.
Okay.
And we have a friend from Karachi Toastmasters Club, Toastmaster Amra Yunus. Toastmaster Amra, welcome. Okay, now this is what our evaluation panel looks like. Auditory will be done by D Team Swarna, visual by myself, perceptible by D Team Sarfraz, and structure and language. Toastmaster Amra, would you be willing to do a structure and language evaluation 1 minute only for the speech we are just about to witness?
जी थैंक यू सो मच अस्सलाम वालेकुम डीटीएम तला
One.
मेरी आवाज आ रही है एम आई
जी
ऑडिबल
जी yes.
ओके I can try. Actually, I might be on and off in the meeting
It's all right.
because of
The the
yeah.
the speech is taking place right now. So and the
Okay,
evaluation will be immediately after. All right.
okay. I'll let me try. Okay. I'll do that.
Okay. Great.
Thank you.
So so that's sorted. I would hand over the charge to our lead evaluator, DTM Saf, who will explain the project. Over to you, DTM Saf.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, Mr. Toastmaster of the Day, fellow Toastmaster, and the guest. Good morning. From my part, of the world. And good evening to the Toastmaster Surfraz. Toastmaster GK Ajay DTM is attempting a project from the Regional Communications Level 3, and and the project is an elective project focus on the positive title, and but his title of the speech is TYG. Over to the speaker.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I think the timer is also ready.
Yes, my window will be the timer. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Good afternoon or good morning, everyone. We all might have been through tough situations in our lives. We all might had bad days professionally and personally. I am no exception to that. One of the common toughest period for everyone on this planet is between 2020 and 2023. That is when the whole world went through the pandemic. Today, I'm going to share my own experience on how I sailed through those days, what I have learned from the pandemic, and how I focused on the positives instead of negatives. I still remember it was March 22nd, 2020. I was in office and a news broke out that the first case of pandemic in Hyderabad was detected just 3 blocks away from my office. The same evening, we received an email from our HR team asking us to work from home until further notice. It was my first experience to work from home. All of a sudden, I felt that I was disconnected from the world. I was disconnected from my friends. There are no tea breaks with my colleagues. There are no lunch breaks with my friends. There is no commute to office. There are no honking of horns across the street. The world became silent and still all of a sudden. At that point, I felt depressed because that's a rapid change in my life, the way I used to work. At one point, I decided that I should come out of this situation and use this time, the work from home option, to my betterment and be more productive. The first thing I did is stop watching television, because the television broadcasts the stats on a daily basis, how many people got infected, how many people were killed due to virus. I stopped watching that. Second thing, I stopped talking about the pandemic with my team members, with my family members, with my neighbors, and with my friends. Instead, what I did is I started reading books, and I enrolled to Russian language online. This is not the end. I brought in yoga into my system, in my life system, and started doing asanas, started doing some pranayama breathings. One of the most beautiful things I developed during this period is going out and getting groceries and vegetables for my home. Until 2020, it was the task of my mother, who used to go out and get all the necessary things from outside to home. Because my mother asked me to only focus on the job and come back home and take rest and go back to office. But this period has given me a lot of time to sit back, relax, and contemplate on the things which I wanted to do since long and which I kept pending for so long. During this period, I lost a couple of my best friends, couple of my relatives, and few colleagues. But those incidents taught me a lesson. That lesson is life is very short and it is highly unpredictable. Never judge a person. You might not know when that person will leave you or you yourself will leave the world. So, love everyone and judge no one. TYQ, which means thank you, God. Thank you, God, for giving me such a courage and mindset to work upon my own development and focus on the positives during that period. How many of you thank God for the things which you have? How many of you thank God for the things which you don't have? Because if God is not giving those things, it is not suitable to you. If God is giving certain things, it means you deserve it. How many of you count your blessings and be grateful to God? Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, DTM Ajay. Over to you, Mr. Lead Evaluator, to host the evaluation session.
Thank you very much, Mr. President and the TMOD. And I'm very much thankful to the Toastmaster DTM Ajay. What a wonderful message he has delivered. And he just provoked so many things together that thanks God. And start counting the blessing, what you are getting from the God. And you can say the thanks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who gave each and everything to us. Life is very short and unpredictable. What a strong message you have given in your speech. Love everyone and judge no one. That brings the peace in our life. Those DTM Ajay Kumar, you are calm, composed, and confident throughout your speech. And at one point of time that I felt that you are telling the story, but you share with us a story, the actual story you've gone through the pandemic. Each one of us having a different experience of the pandemic periods, and you shared your one, and uh, and you have stopped watching the TV and stopped talking about the pandemic. That is the one of the best thing that keep yourself away from the negativity and bring the positivity in your life. What is my impressions about your speech? I was thinking about while you are sharing your personal story, uh, you must I can see your facial expression or your voice in such a way that can I get the expression what you are getting out of the experience gone through by you, that your mother is saying mother is taking care of each and everything and she told you to focus yourself, and when you go out to buy a grocery, what happened to you, how you are taking the grocery in your hand. So I personally feel if you can stand and express yourself with the expression on your face, that will give the impact to your project. By having said this one, I have a panel of evaluators and they will taking care of their part. And firstly, I would request Toastmaster DTM Tala bin Hamid to tell us the visibility or visual aspect of your project. Over to DTM Tala.
Thank you so much, DTM Savsa. And of course, visually, I believe that your speech's setup was ideally suited, except for the part where, yes, you could have stood up. Other than that, your whole background, it's really, really appealing. It is attractive and elegant without drawing attention to itself, which is the ideal background for a speech. And one more visual aspect that I could see was that while you were speaking, we could see the expressions that match your word on your face, which means that you are speaking from the heart. So that is something not easily achievable, especially by myself. But it was amazing to see, and I believe that that enhanced the impact of your speech. Other than that, of course, your gestures were somewhat limited by you sitting down, as said by our lead evaluator. Over to you, Mr. Leadwell.
Thank you very much, DTM Talal and Hamid. And I'm requesting my mentor, not only my mentor, he's a mentor of mentors and hundreds of mentee he has, and countless mentee he has, and he might not have the list how many mentee he has. So please put your hand together, welcoming multiple time DTM Sarfaraz to tell us about the perceptible point about DTM Ajit speech.
Thank you, DTM Safshet, and especially you, Toastmaster Ajay. Your topic related to us. Most of us know what happened during the pandemic, so we can relate to it. And then you talked about thanking God, which was your main topic. Gratitude is then something else, a subject that's very popular, and people say that we should be thanking not only God, just everybody that does something for us. So from your topic point of view, good connection with the audience, we could relate to the topic. And you had good hand gestures, but unfortunately, sometimes the hands were barely visible. So perhaps, as was mentioned before, that maybe you can stand and say a few words. Your expressions were good because it was sad, but when you said I became depressed, I wanted to see a little bit more sorrow on your face. And then when you started saying I started learning Russian, then you should have changed the expression, because the expression was mostly same throughout the speech to make it look a little happiness. Overall, well done. I enjoyed your speech. Back to you, DTM Safshet.
Thank you very much, DTM Sarfraz. Now I'm requesting DTM Savarna. DTM Savarna, I wish we can meet in the Saudi Arabia. The last week I was there, and if I know, we can have a gupshup over there in Saudi Arabia. By having said this one, your role is today for the speaker, DTM Ajay, is auditory part. So just tell us about the auditory part of his speech.
Thank you, lead evaluator, DTM Saif. Ajay, when it comes to delivery of your speech, you had great pace, very clear. All of us understood what you said. The poise with which you delivered was also there. There were ups and downs beautifully done. I would like to concentrate on where you can stretch yourself and take it to the next level. And that is, first one is pause. You had good alliterations in your speeches, and it is nice when you pause after everything that you say. For example, when you spoke about no contact, no coffee with friends, and most importantly, when you said the roads became silent, I would have loved to see you with that pause there, because silence is about pause. And we missed that. You went on to go to the next one. So that's number one. Number two, I would like you to do is have power in your speech. You can say, thank God. How many of you have thanked God for what you have? When there is power in your speech, your call to action was very powerful, but your voice did not show that. So put the power in your voice to give us that call to action. Over to you, lead evaluator.
Thank you very much, DTM Savarna. It's looked like that you are on the bed and sleeping on the left side. So if you can change the camera position, now you are okay. Thank you very much. And let's move to our the language and language part. And we do have among us from Karachi Toastmaster Club, Toastmaster Amar. Could you please help our speakers to improve his language?
Thank you, DTM sir. Yes. So thank you, Ajay, for delivering such a good speech. The most part that I liked in your speech was, am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, you are audible, but
Okay.
if you can
So the most part,
little
A little bit
enough,
louder. Yeah.
little bit louder.
hello, is it okay now?
Yes, it's better.
All right. So thank you, Ajay, for such a good speech. Especially as I was saying, the good, the best part of the speech which I liked was your reaction and your response, rather, I would say, to the pandemic, where you talked about how you spent and invested your time in your own development and spreading positivity, development from the point of view your cognition and your physical health, especially out of all these things happening around. So the language, I would like to talk about that. At times, maybe I could not elaborate more, but at times the transition of the sentences could have been better, though the smoothness was there in your speaking, and you used very most you used the words that were most appropriate for this speech, but at times for the transition of the languages you could have done better. So thank you. Over to you, DTM Sef.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Mara.
Thank you.
DTM Sarfraz, you are raising the hand. You want to say anything? Oh, it's a
Sir,
Savarna.
muted,
It's a
sir.
Savarna.
Please ignore it. No, it's not me.
Okay. So, Toastmaster Ajay, these evaluators giving their own personal opinion how you are going to improve, but it is not binding on you. If you feel those comments or the suggestions are the best for your speech, you can adopt it. And if you think those are not valuable for your speech, just ignore it. And your comments, please.
Thank you, DTM Saif Sheikh. First of all, I have to confess one thing. I thought of delivering this speech by standing, but due to sudden change, keynote speaker, I came before keynote speaker. So what I thought is, I have to make some arrangements. I am sitting on an office table and I have to put a stool, and on that I have to put my laptop and deliver the speech. So this sudden change in the sequence, I did not find time, and I also don't want to take my own time to put all these arrangements. So I delivered it by sitting, and as I agree that it should have been delivered by standing. Thank you, DTM Saif Ali Sheikh and panel of evaluators. Thank you so much. Your feedback is so valuable, and I will consider all those things. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster DTM Ajay. And you can give the blame to the Salman because he was the late and you were forced to speak before the Salman. So you can charge him tea or the coffee. He is ready to pay the price. By this, I hand over control back to TMOD, DTM Tala bin Hamid.
Thank you so much. And yeah, so what an amazing speech once again, DTM Ajay. And I believe that it did set exactly the right tone, not only for this meeting, but for the last few days of the current year and for the entire next year. Perhaps, yes, staying fit and progressing and growing is something that we should all resolve to do in the next year. But one thing that is even more important than all of those things is being grateful. Um and this reminds me actually that the theme of today's meeting is winning and losing, right? And they say, I think they say it in Texas, especially, you win some, you lose some. So COVID was, of course, an absolutely harrowing experience. I believe all of us share this, that we lost someone from our extended families or loved ones to this pandemic. I myself suffered at least two deaths on my parents' side of the family, and they were my maternal uncles, especially. But all that, one cannot change what happens, uh, especially when the scale uh, of the pandemic and the scale of disaster is such. We cannot really fight nature, right? But we can look for positives. And one positive that came out of COVID and pandemic is right here, the meeting that we are having right now. Uh, Before COVID, only people who worked across several countries and reported to maybe uh, officers that were not in the same city or the same country knew how to use Zoom very well. And even then, I know for a fact that we used to have Zoom meetings with region advisors even before COVID, because that was the only way that people from several countries could have the same meeting. But we weren't very good at Zoom usage even back then. On March 18th, 2020, after the shutdown, our district held its first ever Zoom meetings. My home club was the first ever individual club that held a Zoom meeting as a Toastmasters meeting, whereas there were two more meetings that very same day, where uh, two different areas combined to hold an online Toastmasters meeting. And while it is second nature to us now, imagine it was something completely new and unexplored back then. But our district, District 122, was one of the pioneers. We were one of the first, if not the first ever district, to hold online Toastmasters meetings. Not only that, we were also the first one to issue guidelines for setting up a Zoom meeting and to safeguard the Zoom meeting from spamming and unsavory characters. We issued those guidelines within 1 month of starting the meeting. That means that we issued those guidelines in April 2020, and those guidelines were used by more than 20 districts around the world. Toastmaster itself, and of course, we had those guidelines approved by Toastmasters branding before issuing. Toastmasters itself came up with those guidelines, I don't know, 6 or 8 months later. We were also the pioneers in starting online contests, and we were the one of the first clubs in our district, and not Quantum Leap, because Quantum Leap didn't exist by then. Karachi Toastmasters Club was the first ever club in District 122 which held an online contest, and that was the toughest one evaluation because it involved breakout rooms and confidentiality. And I believe that I remember even today that I think DTM staff was also part of that meeting. Everyone from the district came to attend that contest. We were under tremendous pressure because everybody wanted to learn that how online contests are supposed to work. And there we were, not having fully mastered Zoom ourselves, but trying to hold a contest. Alhamdulillah, it was a success. So this is all about winning and losing. That whenever there's a disaster, whenever there's a challenge, uh, then humanity rises and we find new ways. And of course, one of the very happy side effects of all that was this very club, because looking at the pandemic and looking at the climate disaster, looking at the uh, looking at the fact that we are not heading towards a climate disaster, we are within a climate disaster. DDMSAF would second that because of the smog that affects northern Pakistan and northern parts of India, that has become such a chronic problem that It has become a serious life and death situation. That is just one aspect of the disaster we face. And when somebody is faced with a disaster, you don't automatically call for chartered accountants. Nobody says, "Oh, the house is burning. I wish there was a chartered accountant to save the day." No, we need doctors, we need engineers, we need scientists to actually save the situation, and that is the concept behind this club. So moving on to our next phase of the meeting, which is our keynote. uh, Toastmaster Salman Ibrahim will be talking about the challenges of weight loss, and his speech title, and this will be evaluated as a keynote, of course. So the duration will be 18 to 22 minutes. Toastmaster Salman, can you see the timing window? It will be my window.
Yes, I can see you, but
Yeah.
not the window. I have a timer set up, so I'm not sure if it would be possible. But
That's perfectly
I don't
fine.
think that would be an issue. Yeah.
That perfectly fine. So the duration of this project is 18 to 22 minutes. And the idea is the project is level 5, prepare to speak professionally. It is supposed to be a longer speech, and it needs to have all the elements of a Toastmaster speech, but at the same time, it needs to hold the audience's attention. Uh, the evaluation panel for this is as such. I will be the lead evaluator. Auditory evaluation will be done by DTM SAF, and visual evaluation will be done by DTM Sarfaraz, perceptible by DTM Ajay, and language evaluation from the audience. Sorry, it was decided that it will be done by DTM Swarna. So everyone put your hands together for Toastmaster Salman Ibrahim, the art and science of weight loss. The art and science of weight loss, Toastmaster Salman Ibrahim.
Uh, Thank you very much. Can you hear me well now?
Yes, we
Hello? Yeah. Okay. So, first of all, the discussion is thank you very much, Toastmaster Talha, for the very kind introduction. And this conversation that we are having today is not going to talk about the, let's say, the medicinal issues related to weight gains and the struggle people have because of those medical issues. This conversation is essentially about the lazy bums like me who have been just continuing with their sedentary lifestyle and the food intake without any sort of accountability that we impose on ourselves. So, just wanted to give this disclaimer before I begin. So my first inspiration on the weight loss came from a movie, The Pianist, in which the main character was able to lose 14 kg weight in a 6 weeks time as part of his character evolution from the beginning to the end. I was very much impressed by the way the guy went from a relatively normal human being to someone who was clearly exhibiting evidence of having gone through starvation, war fatigue, and all the trauma that's associated with persecution and threat to life. I was very much in awe, and I wanted to see what exactly was the plan that he followed to reach that goal. And back then, I was not as obese as I was 1 year ago. Back then, I was still a lot more active. Back then, I was a lot more young to consume whatever I ate during the day, especially at the time when I was watching TV or I was out with the family or with basically in a mode that encouraged a senseless intake of high calorie food. The main issue that the guy had was basically controlling or whatever food he could basically consume during the process. Now, a couple of days ago, actually not a couple of days ago, but a few months ago, I went to see my doctor for regular checkup. He did some tests and the tests were horrendous. The results were horrendous. And he was highly concerned that if I don't do something, he would have to basically admit to the hospital to control what I was eating and what was happening to my body during that process. During that process of self-examination, I realized that it is an extremely important skill that I have learned as a finance professional to count what I was basically taking in and what was going out. What was going out was very much clear, but what was really bothering me was what was there in my whole plan that was really making it so difficult for me to basically balance things out. And that, as part of that process, I started noticing the calorie descriptions on the various food items. So I was able to identify one particular thing, which was basically the desi nimco that we eat. I was looking at the packet and it said that per serving, the calorie count was 280. And when I noticed the serving that it was referring to, it said a serving meant 4 tablespoons only. And by that time, just in that session, I had consumed not 4, but maybe 40 tablespoons. So imagine the kind of calorie intake I had basically consumed within just a short span of 1 hour. And when you compare that with the outflow, if you have to, and that's what I discovered as part of the exercise, if I ran or walked briskly for 60 minutes straight at 6 kilometers an hour, my machine was showing me losing or consuming 300 calories. So if I took that dose of 40 tablespoons with maybe 4,000 or 3,000 calories, and I still ran for 60 minutes, I was not able to consume even 10% of the intake. So that left me with finding out what exactly goes behind different kind of foods, different types of foods, different components of food, and how to basically balance that out to make sure that I am able to lose weight in a healthy way. Bear in mind that I am a desi. I have to make sure that my plans are aligned with the ground realities, as this is what was suggested by my doctor as well. That a number of times we go to doctors who are here in this region, who are Arabs or from UK or from the US, native, I mean, basically Western oriented doctors who have no idea of the kind of dietary abuse, I would say, we desis unfortunately have. So then I started reading more about the carbohydrates, the proteins, the fats, this, that, etc., everything. And then I saw various diet plans. So when I looked at the diet plans, I mean, you can read all about the impact of the carbohydrates and the proteins on your body, you know, how important those are and how relevant those are to different body functions. But what I figured out was the diet plans ranged between two extremes, essentially. One end of the extreme was no carb diet. The next one was carb cycling. The next one was meal sequencing, intermittent fasting, and at the other end of the extreme was the desi diet, which was essentially a load of carbs and fats. The biggest problem that you would have if you are trying to lose weight or live a healthy life. We eat roti with, let's say, a curry. That is itself I mean, we fill our stomachs with loads of roti, with loads of chawal. We try to basically I just can't find the right word. The way we treat ourselves with this filler of roti and the rice. But I have to also be aware of the fact that I cannot live without it, because that would be totally bizarre. Something that is just not normal, that my body would just not accept. Why? Because I have always felt happier when I ate roti. I have always felt happier when I ate biryani. The pulao, the kadhai with the roti was an amazing thing since forever, since the time I started enjoying good meal. And that was probably the first time we started with the solid foods. So it was extremely hard to expect myself to get rid of all that habit. So what I did basically, and that's where the art part of whatever science I have just talked about, the carbs and the proteins and the fats and then different compositions of those carbs and whatnot. And then I have the palette available to me of different colors, which I have to use to make sure that those are aligned with the aesthetics and proximity to our normal life routines, because that is what is going to work. So I figured out of all the spectrum of the possible options, what I could pick up was a mix of those things. So carb cycling, for example, is something that you say, okay, you eat high carb diet and then follow it with the intense workout session. So I figured that my desi diet over the weekend is full of carbs. No matter how hard I tried, it was going to be difficult or almost impossible for me to avoid the biryani on the weekend lunch. So I followed that high carb diet with a 60 minutes walk and then going to the gym for 30 minutes, or maybe have a 2-hour gym session on a Saturday morning when it's a weekend over here. So I would go for a 60 minutes walk on the treadmill or the cycle or the rowing machine, and then 30 minutes of weight training, and then another 30 minutes of this, that, etc., etc. So that was basically myself mixing desi diet end of the spectrum with carb cycling and making sure that I didn't really put on all that weight just because of that one cheat meal that was there. Another thing that I made an adjustment to was basically the meal sequencing. So the meal sequencing says that you basically start off with vegetables, green ones at that, then followed by protein, and then followed by the carb. I combined that with another suggestion that my doctor had made to me, that the mind works in such a way that when you start eating food, the body starts releasing a chemical that basically signals satiety and satisfaction from your whatever food you're eating in 15 to 18 minutes. So he suggested that I should basically follow that plan to make sure that my carbs or my high calorie food was coming towards the end of that time window, which would make it very easy for me to eat less of those, which was basically preceded by the vegetables and the protein aspect. But there was a problem. And the problem was I was hungry when I was eating food. And then I had to make sure that I figured out something that made me enjoy the vegetables, that made me enjoy the protein. So I hacked the system through another cheat code, which was basically the dopamine hit. Normally, when you are eating food made by someone, you feel intense pleasure saying, oh, this food is really good. And you keep eating till your dopamine levels kind of reach saturation level. And then you say, okay, fine now. But by that time, the damage is already done. So I turned the system around. What I did was I added the part where I myself made the salad on the weekend lunches. So I cut the salad myself. I cut the onions, I cut the cucumbers, I cut the carrot, I cut the garlics, I cut the lemon sprinkle, and I added some bit of spices here and there. That itself for me was the source of dopamine. Preparing something that was healthy enough and did not have the effect of hitting me with the high calorie intake. And it worked fantastic because since I had made that salad, I like to eat it. I even gave it to my kids. Hey, enjoy this. This is the salad that I made. And then I filled my plate with the salad. I started enjoying that salad while others were basically getting their plates filled. And then by that time, I had biryani coming my way. I was half the way through the 18 minutes window that we are talking about. It would really well. All of this whole system worked so well that within a month, actually, when I went back to see my doctor, when he asked me to stand on the weigh machine, and then when he got the test results done, he was shocked. The words that he said was, the results were, ज़रूरत से ज़्यादा अच्छे हैं. This was amazing because that gave me another source of dopamine hit. I felt, wow, this is something that I am very happy about. Then I followed the same thing again and again and again. So the dopamine hit was basically sourced or tried for through a very healthy way of doing things. All of this basically is something that I believe was consistently possible for me. I could actually continue carrying on with this way of living because this is basically aligned with the way I normally eat and I normally function. I'm not losing any of the biryanis and the kormas and the kadhais and the pastas, and yet I am able to maintain my weight at the desired level with a bit of here and there, of course. But that's normal. I mean, if I would be perfect, I would not be standing here in front of you with this. I'll probably have taken off my shirt and showed you my abs as well. If I were not, I mean, in that way. But I wanted to live normal life. I'm a normal professional who has certain limitations on his uh, time period, on his availability of exercise time, and what. As someone said, the moment we are born, we are basically on a polar express to the boneyard. But the thing is how well we enjoy the ride to that boneyard. And with a healthy lifestyle, something that you can actually feel happy about without giving up much of what you actually like or love is the key to enjoying that ride with the loved ones that you have. That's all for me. But one thing I would like to add here is that I am in this journey with everyone else, so I may not be the right person to answer the questions, and I would encourage people to basically share suggestions or tips instead of going through the Q&A session that we may have over. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Salman. First of all, I think it was a potentially life-changing session for all of us. And it was really amazing how grounded, how realistic your advice was. We will remember it for a long time. And no, you're not escaping questions, no matter how clever you are. So, unfortunately, Q&A is a part, but what the modification we'll make is that, we'll give the audience 5 minutes to ask any questions or add anything to what we just said. So the 5 minutes start now. The 5 minutes start now. Wait, let me put the timer. So any comments, suggestion, or questions? Uh, Toastmaster Westbus but has just written in private chat. Great speech, Salman. Congratulations. Sorry, I have to leave. See you all in the next session. So congratulations on that. And coming from a Westbut who happens to be in great shape, mashallah, that's a great compliment, I would say. So anyone else, questions or comments? Swarna? Yeah.
Thank you so much, first of all, to you, DTM Talha, to have such a beautiful topic today on a Sunday morning to listen to this. Thank you so much for this idea. And um, Salman, I think there is no better way to present a speech on food. Okay, a beautiful combination of science, math, reality, and to let all of us here,
Accounting too.
especially Desis, who love our food. Your speech was just so beautiful, and you make us feel that it's okay to be normal. And I think that's what I really loved about your speech, and love the way you have spoken on carb cycling, meal sequencing. How I was taking on so many notes. So thank you so much. Very well done. And you are truly a genius in presenting this topic. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Swarna. And you just took away a lot of the evaluation points that I was planning to make. But anyhow, now, so okay, Uzma Aman is saying, Assalamu alaikum, mashallah, barakallah, fi. Thank you, jazakallah khair. Great session. One tip from my side, 1% improvement in diet every day, like adding one healthy food at a time to a meal. So I think that's a great point that instead of making wholesale changes, and I think that's also something Salman touched upon. Instead of making wholesale changes, instead of completely changing your lifestyle and everything, which will crash and burn, of course. We've all tried that, haven't we? We've completely adopted something that was alien to us, and not a few days later, it was back to normal and worse than before. So thank you for that, Uzma, for that valuable input. Anyone else who would like to add or ask Salman a question? So if not, I think we can start the evaluation session. And Okay, let me just reiterate who are the evaluators. I am the lead evaluator, whereas the auditory evaluation will be done by DTM Sef, visual evaluation by DTM Sarfaraz, perceptible by DTM Ajay, and structural and language will be done by DTM Swat. So, oh my God, all five evaluators are DTMs. No pressure, Salman. Okay. Okay. So this is something you will, I think, experience in very few clubs, including Quantum League. So starting with the lead evaluation, let me put on the timer. All right. So Toastmaster Salman, first of all, I believe that your pace of delivery was absolutely superb. I think we understood and absorbed each and every word and thought that you said. Your message was heartfelt. We could feel it in every word. Uh, and unlike most keynote speakers, you chose to stand and deliver. And I believe that added a great deal to your speech, that added to your confidence as well. You had some great insights. I won't go into details of those because that will then be tantamount to repeating what you said. Um, you made an excellent point about ground realities, which I cannot appreciate enough. Every diet plan or every fitness effort that we adopt, it needs to be connected to our ground realities of who we are, what we like to eat, and what is our diet like, what are the things available to us, and what is easy for us or our family members to prepare. That's all that's coming into the equation before we decide to go on a diet plan. You talked about two extremes of diet plans that shows your depth of knowledge and research on this subject. And that can only come from a person who has lived through what you have lived through according to your keynote. So thoroughly appreciate that. And then the most impressive part was that your keynote was so cohesive that you did not neglect a single thing about the promises that you made to the audience at the beginning, the art and science. You moved to art and then you moved to color science. You put a bit of accountancy into it as well. And you touched upon that great reality that sometimes having scientific knowledge, especially mathematical knowledge or accounting knowledge, that can enhance a life to a great deal. There's a definite difference between people who are mathematically minded and who are not, and we see that difference every day. That's also one of the reasons of establishment of this club. Um, you get created very good humor towards the end about displaying your abs and point about normalcy. As DTM Swarna said, it's okay to be normal. So a few improvement areas. First of all, during the first of this half of the speech, your vocal variety was kind of low. But then, as you gained confidence, we could literally see you gaining confidence and adding to your expressions, gestures, and vocal variety. You use one filler word basically a lot, so try to avoid that next time. Um, there was a bit of a lack of 3D movement, which you can make use of during the online presentation, where you can approach the camera or go away from the camera at times to enhance your speech. Overall, exceptionally well coordinated, cohesive keynote delivered a superb message, just a little bit more vocal variety during the beginning, and a little more body movement could have enhanced this even further. Now, I will hand over the charge to our modular evaluators, starting with the DTM staff for the auditory evaluation.
Thank you very much, GTM Talha, and in particular Toastmaster Salman Ibrahim. And what a wonderful speech. You are loud enough, and we can understand each and of every sentence you have spoken about it. By having said this one, there's a lot of opportunity in between your speech that you can bring the emotion whilst you are taking the biryani or the plow. So, wow, it's a big biryani. I love it. So the emotion was missing, and I felt about it that throughout your speech, you was monotonous. There is no high and low pace. I hardly get it. And this is a long speech, and after 5 minutes, I stop counting the ah. And during the first 5 minutes, I count more than 37 ah in your speech, and this is a big sign that you have to work on it. Over to the DTM Talabin Hamid.
Thank you so much, DTM Saif. Now over to DTM Sarfraz for visual evaluation.
Thank you, DTM Talha bin Hamid, fellow Toastmasters, and especially you, Toastmaster Salman. I enjoyed your presentation. I like the fact that you stood up to give your presentation. You moved back and forth during your presentation. You also had hand gestures most of the time. How can you improve? Your gestures were in front of your chest. I would like to see sometimes, like when you were saying it was 4 tablespoons or 4 teaspoons, your gestures should be in front of your chest. But then you say, what I ate was 40, your hands should have gone away from your body. And also, I would have liked to see a background that showed some food items, biryani, or things that you're talking rather than these plants. Good speech. Enjoyed it. Back to you, DTM Talha.
Thank you so much. DTM Sarfraz, I think he was showing the healthy side of food, just the greens, and he was urging us all to eat more salads through that background. Now we'll go to the perceptible evaluation that will be done by DTM Ajay. Over to you, Ajay.
Thank you, DTM Talha. DTM Salman, that's a wonderful keynote speech, and the topic is well suited for the audience, wherein we are running after everything except taking care of our health. So, a wonderful topic and apt timing as well. Visually, I feel that when you move back, you are disappearing all of a sudden because of your background and appearing again after some time. So please ensure that you have a solid background. So when you're standing and delivering your speech and moving backwards, so this background is dominating your image. So take care of that. And I really like the way you suggested how we can take intake of a less biryani before. You said that you will have to take salads or vegetables before that so that the stomach will get half filled, and then you won't show much interest towards the biryani. So I really like that suggestion, and I think I have to implement that suggestion in my life, because when I see biryani, I don't think about anything. I just jump onto it and have it. So I should take care. And thank you so much for your wonderful suggestions. Thank you. Back to you, DTM Salfa.
Thank you so much, DTM Ajay. Without further ado, now moving on to DTM Swarna for the structure and language evaluation. Over to you, DTM Swarna.
Thank you. Thank you, lead evaluator, DTM Talha, and Toastmaster Salman. When it comes to the language and structure of your speech, you had a great structure. You had a good introduction, a very meaty center, and then call to action in the end. Well done in terms of structure. In terms of language, you had many places where you had alliterations of going in power of 3. You told us things that were in the rhyme and rhythm of the language. So very well done on that. I also would like to say that you knew your audience well today. While we may say that it's not right in another audience, but today's audience, you used a lot of desi words, like loads of roti, loads of chawal, which is fine because the audience here, we know what you're talking about. But you have to be mindful of it when you are in a different audience, on whether your audience know what you're talking about. So that's something that you will want to keep in mind. But today's, I wouldn't point it as a mistake, but it was well done so that you connect with us in the story that we like. Where you can improve is that you started off with pianist and how it influenced you, and I couldn't find a relevance in the whole story there. So I was curious, why did you tell about that? And then you went on to your story, so that connection was missing. So you may want to redo that in the way that we can see a relevance to that. Okay, but in overall, a great speech. Thank you, and over to you, Leader Badwit.
Thank you so much. So, Toastmaster Salman, we'll want your comments after being evaluated by 5 people with a combined 5,000 years of Toastmasters experience between them. So, over to you.
No, I am honored and I feel really obliged to have got the feedback on this from such a distinguished team of evaluators. I have taken notes of all the suggestions and my sincere apologies for the mix up at the beginning of the session because of this video issue. But the feedback is really helpful, and I hope to make sure that this is not going to happen in the future speeches and all the improvements, because that's what the whole point is about. I mean, I'm here to improve myself, and if I hear no improvement suggestions, then basically I'm ready for the speech contest globally, and that's what I'm aiming for.
Exactly. That's the spirit, Toastmaster Salman. And very soon we'll be making announcement about speech contest. I think first of all, you absolutely didn't need to apologize about the technical issues. We do not do that because they're not our fault. And secondly, I think what resulted afterward, where we saw you fully standing and delivering a keynote in perfect resolution and sound, I think that was more than worth it. So thank you so much once again. I believe that this was really life changing, and this is the stuff that this is the stuff for which this club was formed. So now I'll be floating a few quick polls. I won't be floating the poll for best speaker because we had only one speaker. Toastmaster Salman will be scoring a separate certificate for as a keynote speaker. But I'll be launching the best evaluator and then the best modular evaluator. So everyone, please vote, cast your vote. And now moving on to the next segment, as announced earlier, we are skipping the Geek of the Week session today, and we are moving straight to our table topics master. And our table topics master is none other than distinguished Toastmaster Iram Rizvi. So over to you, DTM Iram.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. How is my bandwidth? Otherwise, I will switch off my video.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
Very good, very good. So I'm out of the chess tournament. My son is sitting for the federal chess tournament. And thank you, DTM Talha, for giving me the cue. So today we are repeatedly talking about how to lose things and how to win things. So I'm going to have more of focus on personal stories today in the table topics. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Can anybody give a cue that you can hear me? Great, because I can't see any movement. I'll switch off my video.
All right.
For
yes,
saving
you are
some
audible.
band here. All right.
Yeah.
So the first speaker, when they get the topic, they do their speech, and after they finish their speech, the next speaker, whoever I call, has to evaluate them for 1 minute on their table topic, focus on how the topic was attempted, how was the hand gestures, how was the vocal, how was the humor. So anything that could make a table topic better. And the same person is going to get the topic from me for their speech. The person who gets the first speech is going to evaluate the last speaker. So you all have to be very alert. So let's move ahead with this. My first topic is for, let me see, for DTM Sarfaraz. DTM Sarfaraz, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Great. So DTM Sarfaraz, the topic for you is कि जीत के हारने वाले को बाजीगर कहते हैं. So The topic for you is to share an incident where you won, but you lost to gain something. Share an incident where you won, but you lost to gain something. Over to you, DTM Sarfaraz.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. I'm so glad that you selected me since I've already been a modular evaluator. I'm going to be a general evaluator. Why not be a participant in table topics too? Your question is, somewhere where I won, but I lost something. Since we are in a table Toastmasters meeting, I'll talk about the speech contest. I won't mention who, but someone says, if you come in second, that's a good thing in general, that, hey, only one person beat you. But if you're second, then you're the first loser. So going back to the semifinals, it would have been nice to win because I wanted to advance to the World Championship. I took second place, which meant that I was the first loser. Because if you are not in the top three, then you say, hey, well, I lost. But when you second came so close, and then in semifinals, you have 3 ballot counters or vote counters, and one of them happens to be from your district who tells your district officers that Sarfraz lost by 1 point to someone who became world champion. Out of 18 judges, that's a maximum of 54 points, 3 points for first place. To lose by 1 point to a world champion, so that's, you won in the sense that in a semifinals, taking second place meant you were the alternate contestant for the world championship. What an honor. 9 finalists and 9 alternate contestants. That means as a second place winner, I was in the top 18 speakers in the world from Toastmasters International point of view, which means that among 30,000 or so Toastmasters being in the top 18. But remembering that I lost by 1 point to world champion, I was actually the first loser. So this was a case where I won and went home with a 3.4 trophy. At the same time, I was the first loser. Back to you, Madam Toast.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you very much. Now my second speaker is going to be DTM Talha, so that the pace is set. DTM Talha, you're first going to evaluate DTM Sarfaraz for a minute.
Okay. So first of all, DTM Sarfraz, I think you captured the topic perfectly, winning and losing. And when you started, I think it was difficult for me to relate or connect. How would you connect winning and losing? But then you explained it very well. And further, I could really sense the real pain of getting so close and then missing it out. So your vocal expressions were perfect. I believe that, honestly speaking, there's very little I can suggest towards improvement. I just, I will just say that maybe more gestures would have amplified that feeling of pain even more. Other than that, I think it was perfectly done.
Thank you very much, DTM Talha. And now the question for you, DTM Talha, is share a time when you won by almost losing. Share a time when you won by almost losing. DTM Talha.
Okay. Okay. Honestly speaking, I haven't won that much to be able to recall such a time. But yes, I do recall one instance during my school days where actually I was in 8th class, and it was Beacon House, so they had done away with the ranking system of first, second, third. They just awarded one award, which was the most outstanding student of the year. In 8th class, I won that award, but I was victim to backhanded whispers and ridicule, because the common perception was that I had only been given this award because the boy who had actually won this award had left the school. And that was devastating. I couldn't for the life of me imagine why the school would do that. Even if the boy had left the school, they could have just made the announcement on the stage and they would have just said that the boy is no longer with us, or maybe he has left, or he's not in the city. It was the pre-internet days, pre-social media days. Nobody really knew who anyone was, where anyone was, and what they were doing. Uh, Schools and colleges and parents and friends could get away with a lot of stories and lies. Um, and I recall getting totally frustrated by trying to explain to everyone that there's no reason the school would award this award to me just because the actual recipient wasn't available. That is really hurting to this day. And even today, I exactly know the names and the faces of the people that refuse to believe me. So you do the math. Over to you, table topics.
Thank you very much, DTM Talha bin Hamid. And yes, this is one form of childhood bullying that stays as a trauma along when you were not trusted for your earnings. So I'm going to request DTM GK Ajay now to give a 1 minute evaluation of DTM Talha's table topic speech.
Thank you, DTM Adam Rizvi and DTM Talha. You uh, you understood the topic very well, given by the table topics master, and you gave a speech or handled the speech in a proper manner, and I think that's a good handling of a table topics. So yeah, I think you're good. Thank you so much. Back to you, ma'am. Waiting for the topic.
Thank you very much, DTM Ajay. Am I audible?
Yes, you
Yes,
are.
you
Okay.
are audible.
So the topic for you, DTM Ajay, is your son comes home after losing a race. Your son comes home after losing a race. I want you to demonstrate that 2 minutes of speech with him.
Okay, thank you so much. So my son came home after losing a race. So he might be obviously disappointed, low with the spirit, came home in low spirit. The first reaction I do is smile with him and put my hands on his shoulders and say, that's okay, we can try later. But you have to learn lessons like how you lose, why you lose, all these things. You have to analyze uh, for this defeat. So I don't shout at him because I understand I also had a lot of defeats in my life, and this is not a new thing in every human. So this is the way I used to handle. Whenever he gets less marks, out of 25, sometimes he gets 10 or 9. I just simply gently say, try more and more, push the bar high and high, so that you will learn more and more things. Shouting doesn't takes the child anywhere. The way you handle, the way you show the love towards him is more important, because this is the way I believe. This is the way they learn from us, and when they become the parents, they replicate the same to their children. So shouting doesn't happen, but love makes everything straight. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Love makes everything right. Love, wonderful. Thank you for that. And I'm now going to request Toastmaster Salman to evaluate in 1 minute DTM GK Ajay's table topic speech. Toastmaster Salman, are you here with us?
Yeah, but I'm just not able to turn on my video as I'm
It's all right. It's all
in
right.
transit.
Yes,
Yeah.
All right.
it's we have seen good of you today. Very nice.
Thank you.
Go ahead, please.
Thank you. The speech was very good, and the message was quite clearly outlined, was clearly explained, and I think we all agree to that. What he's saying, that shouting doesn't change anything. And so what you have to do is encourage them and basically make things better for the future. So it was very well put and very comprehensively, very concisely explained. Thank you very much, Ajay, for that.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Salman. So the topic for you is, what is more important for you, for being happy or winning? What is more important for you, for being happy or winning? Over to you.
Well, I believe it should be a mix of both winning and being happy. Sometimes you are unable to win, but that doesn't take the happiness away from you regarding the effort that you have made. And that's also a win in itself. If you are not going to be at the first place in any contest, it is absolutely fine, because it essentially means that you were at least part of a contest, which takes a lot of courage, which takes a lot of self belief to begin the contest expecting that, yes, you can do it. And that is something that is more important, and it makes you happy. It gives you the victory that you need to carry on with your life, because one win or one lose doesn't change the course of your life unless you let it kind of get over yourself. If you don't let it control you, then you have a long journey ahead of you, much more fruitful one and much more happy one. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Salman. Very smart of not selecting sides. Now we're going to close the cycle. DTM Sarfaraz, would you please evaluate for a minute Toastmaster Salman's speech?
Thank you, Madam Tabletop's Master. Thank you, Toastmasters Salman, for your response to her question about winning or happiness. So I agree when you said that it would be nice if you win and be happy, and not say that I want to be happy, because chances are if you win, you got to be happy. Although sometimes people win and they're not happy, which happened in one of the world championships where someone took third place, and he was expecting to be first, or people from his district expected him. So I got on the stage, received the trophy, and he walked off the stage with the trophy hanging upside down. And that to me was an insult. So it doesn't matter. So not only you have to experience the thrill of victory, but you also know how to handle the agony of defeat. So you are right in your response, saying that, hey, one win or loss does not define you. So well put in response to the question. Back to you, Madam Tabletop's Master.
Thank you very much, DTM Sarfaraz, for evaluating with a story in itself. So thank you. Can I please take one more question on our traditional style, and for one speaker over here, DTM Talha?
Yes, sure. Why not?
All right.
We are making good
So
time.
is it guest or Toastmaster Muhammad Israr Khan?
Yeah, it's actually guest Israr Khan.
Guest. Wonderful. So guest Muhammad Israr Khan, there is a question for you. Would you like to attempt? You have to speak for minimum 1 minute till you see the green light.
Yeah, sure. Please.
Okay. Share an incident of winning a match of your childhood time, or share an incident of winning a match of your school time.
Okay, there are multiple instances where that happened, but I will highlight one of the incidents from my childhood journey. Especially that was the time when we used to play a lot of video games, and during those times we used to go to this gaming hub where multiple people would just sit down in front of the computer and they would play against the other team. So I think from a childhood, I was very competitive with those games, because I think Salman explained very well that, and other member before that as well, that winning is something that is a kind of adrenaline rush that makes you happy, and which for that moment only you can say that your purpose is met. So that So that's why, like during those times, since it was a very competitive and high environment game, and there was a lot of prize at stake. So yeah, it was a very demanding, and we used to have a very good coordination and communication, just so that we can beat the other team. So at the end of the day, it was a lot of teamwork and effort from the multiple people, which led us to the victory. And yeah, it was a and after that, it was a good party that we held after that, just so to celebrate our winning. So I think the game, whenever you play the game, it's not all about the winning. It's more about the team building, the effort that you put in, and at the end appreciating not only your own team but the other team that actually made it to this point and gave you a tough challenge, and that actually pushed you towards your best. So I think at that point you have to appreciate the person. But of course, whenever you win the game, so it's better that you do celebrate for winning. Not only the big winning, but the small. You have to celebrate your small winnings as well, so that you are encouraged to go beyond your best. Thank you so much for having me.
You're muted, Ira.
Thank you very much, guest Israr Khan. I'll just take 30 seconds to evaluate because we do that in this club. Really like the way how you attempted the topic. And I like the way that you had incidents. You also had a parting message, a very motivational message that it's not just about winning, it's about teamwork. So glad for that. The only feedback I could give you for next time is adapt a bit of storytelling, like bringing in some characters. This happened, my friend said, you know what, we can't win this. And then I said, just a bit of, living that moment of your match. So whenever you get a topic, try to get into that moment when it happened in history, and that will develop your skills for storytelling. But amazingly done. Thank you very much. We all enjoyed. And I'm going to now pass it back to DTM Talha bin Hamid for voting and for the rest of the agenda.
Everyone, please vote for at least two of your favorite speakers. That's a request so that we can get a meaningful result. So please vote quickly for at least two of your favorite speakers. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Israr. Have you attended Toastmasters meetings before?
Yeah, actually, I'm a Toastmaster member at Zenith Toastmaster Club, but it's my first.
All right.
But it's my first time in the Quantum Toastmaster.
Okay, great to have you. Great to have you. And handing over the charge to our general evaluator now, DTM Sarfrazzi. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, DTM Talha bin Hamid and fellow Toastmasters. A great meeting. We had a keynote speaker and unique table topic session. The meeting was well attended. I think we had more than a dozen at one point attendees, and we lost some of the attendees when DTM Iram Rizvi started asking questions, saying that not only you give a response, but you'll also be evaluating someone else. And so then I saw one by one, they looked for the exit. But it was a great session. And especially the evaluation. We have a lead evaluator, and then in addition to that, the evaluators give a perception from a visual point of view or auditory point of view. Meeting started on time, like some of the clubs where they're always running late. So this is great, respecting the time of everyone, especially since it's a Saturday meeting, since people have many other things to do. And earlier when the meeting was started, DTM Talha mentioned that I think that 11 o'clock time is going to be a permanent time. So since that's the time, I guess on the agenda on the left-hand side, bottom versus dating time, it still shows the 10, which was the original time. So that needs to be changed if it's now going to be 11, so the two match, and also making sure that time also is reflected on the Find a Club and Toastmasters International, so that if somebody checks it there, they know exactly what time and day the club meets. In general, well-run meeting. We had roles filled, and the club is very flexible. Since our keynote speaker had some issues setting it up, immediately we were able to get our project speaker go first. So instead of waiting, in some clubs, I would have seen people say, "Oh, okay, let's everyone wait," and everybody waiting or chit-chatting while the person is setting up. Here, instead of wasting everybody's time, we just went to the second speaker because they were ready. And that person gave the speech, and then after the speech went to the also. So there was not a significant disruption. So that's great. I myself enjoyed the meeting, especially since it's started in the middle of the night for me, and now it's almost 2 o'clock in the morning. And I'm going to hand the control of the general evaluation back to our Toastmaster, D10 Talha.
Thank you. Thank you so much, DTM Sarfraz, and sincerely grateful for your presence. And of course, you're right about the timing, but the issue is that the timing has not officially changed in the club constitution. So that will need to be changed after due approval from the members. I plan to float the poll this during maybe in a day or two to get the feedback from members. And yes, DTM madam, you wish to say something? And yes, the second thing about attendance, it's a curious phenomenon because overall lately we've been experiencing good attendance, but it tapers out towards the end. I think Sunday had a lot to do with it today, but that actually makes me rethink whether 10 to 12 would have been a better option because that way everybody gets free by 12. But then on a Saturday morning, 10 a.m. proves too early for some. So that's a bit of a conundrum that we are having. I think the voting will fix that. Now, to quickly announce the results. And while we are here, I would love to have comments from Toastmasters Zahara, who is back with us after quite a number of weeks. Anything, just say hi, what you're up to, anything from you.
Hello, how are you? Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Well,
So it's good to be back, and I'm looking forward to the meetings in future because I'll be joining and will be delivering my project and will complete my pathway because I was in the middle of, I was on level 4 and it was visionary communication, yes. So I remember my pathway and I will be hopefully, inshallah, continuing those projects. And yeah, so thank you very much for the warm welcome. And yeah, over to you.
thank you so much, Toastmaster Zahra, and also use your powers over DTM Saad to pull him back to Quantum Leap meetings as well. We
He's
hope now to
sleeping.
have. Sorry, he is?
Yeah, nothing.
Oh my
He's
God.
sleeping. I'm just saying he's sleeping.
Zahra, I expect you to have more authority over him now. Okay, so get the message. And thank you so much. And quickly to announce the results. As announced, the best speaker is DTM Ajay because he met the time he was only speaker. Our keynote speaker will win a special appreciation award. As is customary for our keynote speakers, further appreciation because he is one of the few individuals who stuck to his timeline for the keynote, and one could sense that his keynote was structured in a way that it was supposed to end very smoothly and coming full circle at the end of the time. So thorough appreciation for that. Best evaluator is won by DTM Sef. Best modular evaluator by DTM Swarna. Best table topics by DTM Sarfaraz. So those are the votes and alert everyone. Our next meeting is 6 days away because that's right. We skipped last week's meeting due to lack of availability of people. But to get back on track, we will be actually having, and I believe TTM, we do have a keynote speaker lined up for that, right? Anyhow, we'll sort this out. Yes, I take that heart as a yes. So everyone, thank you so much for attending, and a special thanks to Toastmaster Salman once again for delivering such an amazing keynote. Because it's customary to say in Toastmasters that everything has been amazing, and it is. But your keynote actually delivered useful knowledge based on your life experiences on how we could actually embark on a path to fitness as opposed to having fancy plans and failing at them, uh, rather actually sticking to something realistic and working at it, kind of like Toastmasters itself. So thank you so much. DT Miriam, you wish to say something? Wow, mashallah. As always, DT Miriam is anywhere but home. I don't know whether she ever goes home. She's always roaming around somewhere. Whenever we see her in a meeting, she's always somewhere. So, thank you so much, DT Amiram. DT Amiram's son had a chess tournament and she was joining live from there. So, thank you so much, DT Amiram, for that. Anybody who'd like to say anything? If not, we end this meeting. Thank you once again, DTM Surplus, from the bottom of my heart for your attendance, for your club coaching, and thoroughly devastated that you are not on the list of those roughly 250 club coaches that have just appeared out of nowhere. But in a way, it makes me feel good.
That's good. Yeah, I'm glad. I didn't want publicity. I'm glad they left me out.
Yeah. And that may also be because you completed all the requirements, so you clearly did not belong in that group. Thank you so much, and see you all once again. Bye.